Religion was central to the ancient Roman Republic. It guided how individuals lived their private lives, but also how public policy was framed and implemented. In this video, I look at the origins of the official religion of the ancient Roman Republic. I welcome you to my YouTube channel where I explore ancient texts. The ancient texts I explore in this channel are those that have been around for thousands of years. At the moment, I'm going through from the founding of the city by Titus Livius or Livy. This is a collection of books that covers the history of Rome from its founding by Romulus in the 750s BCE to the time when Augustus was emperor, which was close to 0 AD. If you have not subscribed, subscribe so that you do not miss any of the videos I publish. Before looking at the origins of the ancient Roman religion, perhaps it is important to examine its core tenets. The ancient Roman religion was polytheist. Romans believed in and worshipped many gods. The list included Queen Juno, Vesta, Jupiter, Mars, Quirinus, Mother Matuta, Minerva, and others. Many of these gods had temples built for them and had orders of priests and virgins dedicated to serving them. The activities these individuals performed included leading prayers, sacrificing animals to the gods, and enforcing morals in society. At the national level, the priests and augurs, or prophets, consulted the gods by reading signs in nature, flying birds, organs of sacrificed animals, and holy texts, in particular the Sibylline books. Livy mentions a few cases where the elections of consuls and other magistrates were annulled because the augurs made determinations that gods were not pleased with the process or the candidates. Now, where did the ancient Roman religion come from? The origins of the ancient Roman religion was a mixture of inherited practices from other nations, especially the Latins, Etruscans, and Sabines, as well as invented ones. All this happened over a long time in a generally slow evolution. As part of founding the city, Romulus engaged in religious activities, particularly sacrifices. Livy tells us that the religion he practiced at that moment was a mixture of beliefs he came with from the Latin city of Alba Longa, the home of his ancestors, and Greek religion he found locals practicing under the leadership of a Greek migrant named Vesta. But one leader after Romulus had passed took it upon himself to refine the religion of the new city and in particular put in place foundation for it. This was Numa Pompilius, elected the second king even though he was a Sabine and not an original Roman. Livy writes, Numa conducted a great many religious services, especially those which belonged to the flamen of Jupiter. But he thought that in a warlike state there will be more kings of the type of Romulus than of Numa who will take the field in person. To guard therefore against the sacrificial rites which the king performed being interrupted, he appointed a Fleming as a perpetual priest to Jupiter, and ordered that he should wear a distinctive dress and sit in the royal curule chair. Livy tells us that the king created orders of priests and virgins to be in charge of the worship of various gods, including Mars, Quirinus, and Vesta. He put these priests and virgins on a stipend from the public treasury. They were also given detailed instructions on the distinctive dresses they were to wear. Livy writes, they were instructed to march in solemn procession through the city, carrying 12 shields called the ancilia, and singing hymns accompanied by a solemn dance in triple time. Numa also created the office of the Pontifex Maximus. This was the chief priest, and the first was Numa Martius, who created and sealed religious laws and procedures. The high priest ensured these religious laws were followed throughout the state. Livy writes, he placed all other sacred functions, both public and private, under the supervision of the pontifex, in order that there might be an authority for the people to consult, and so all trouble and confusion arising through foreign rites being adopted and their ancestral ones neglected might be avoided. The laws themselves touch on many aspects of private life as well as those of public ceremonies. Livy writes, here was laid down with what animals, on what days, and at what temples the various sacrifices were to be offered, and from what sources the expenses connected with them were to be defrayed. Nor were his functions confined to the directing the worship of celestial gods. He was to instruct the people how to conduct funerals and appease the spirits of the departed, and what prodigies sent by lightning or in any other way were to be attended to and expiated. During the reign of kings, starting with Romulus, they led some religious ceremonies. Livy tells us that it was deemed disrespectful to the gods if someone other than the king led these ceremonies. When the reign of kings ended in 509 BCE, the consuls created the office of king for religious ceremonies. This was an individual, as the title suggests, who was considered king for religious ceremonies. They served under the office of the Pontifex Maximus, the high priest. It is important to point out that ancient Rome never had a religion that was completely detached from the religions of its neighbors. Livy mentions, for example, that at the fall of Ai, the gods in its temples were moved to Rome. Also, different nations often came to Rome for religious ceremonies, in particular games. And this started while Romulus was alive and continued for as long as the Republic survived. If you found this video interesting, hit the like button. I also welcome your comment. See you in the next video.